We're recording?
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey guys, welcome back, and welcome back, Nick. Your
Thank
absence
you.
was
What can I
duly
say?
noted and missed last week. How'd moving in go?
It was good. Got set up.
That's
got
nice.
to my classes. Got to the bars, more importantly.
Absolutely. Now, more important is right. Now you have to move back out.
That's true.
Now you have to move back out.
Exactly.
For those of you who don't remember, I'm in Jacksonville, Nick's in Tampa, and Hurricane Irma is about to tear through his campus.
Oh yeah, it's hurricane season.
And it's no joke. Everyone's been stocking up on water, but we're here, we're safe, and we're going to dive into week one. But before that, we just want to discuss a few current events that have been going on. And one major decision was the Zeke ruling being upheld, which you fans, all like three of you, will love the fact that I'm versing Nick. Nick has Zeke, who's playing week one, and I have McFadden, who's now a waste of space week one. So Nick, give them your input real quick on the Zeke ruling.
I'm surprised actually. I didn't think. I mean, obviously I don't know what happened, but like, I thought they were shifting away from the suspension. I mean, he still could like keep appealing it with all those court like junctions or whatever and the nonsense. But yeah, obviously he's playing week one. That's big because it's kind of my second round pick right there. And you had McFadden in your flex, which would have been rough. So
Hey,
I'm happy that I have him for the first week.
in my other league, I have an entire bench of people who are either not playing due to the postponed game, injury, or suspension. Every single person on my bench is out except for Phillip Rivers. I'm stuck starting Derrick Henry and two tight ends.
That's rough.
It's a rough week, and it's against Torts. So
You're starting Derrick Henry in your running back spot or in your flex?
in my running back, in my flex, I have Austin Hooper.
Ooh.
So it's shaping
that
up.
might be an L week one.
Shaping up to be a rough week one. I'm hoping Derrick Henry vultures some touchdowns because he's got DeMarco, but we'll see. Anyways, also, for those of you that might have heard, Carton from Boomer and Carton has been arrested by the FBI. So
What are we talking about?
consider this our resume. If any of you have a connection to CBS, send them this link. Send them our Facebook page. And let's get the ball rolling because we're televised personalities. I would love to wake up in the morning and see me and Nick talking about the normal things we talk about on this podcast just for thousands and millions of viewers instead of the 5 of you. The number's going to gradually go up. It went from 3 to 5. By the end of this, we'll have 8. Anyways, let's get right into it. So, I guess I'll get started with the first game on the slate, which is tomorrow night.
You wanted this one.
I
This was your
do.
game.
I do want this one because I have Kareem Hunt. And it's Kansas City against New England. And we'll try and take about a minute each game because we're going to try and shorten these a little bit. I have the Patriots winning 31-27. I see Brady throwing 3 touchdowns, spreading the ball around, and maybe 1 on the ground. It's hard to predict who's going to get it on the ground. I'd say Gillislee will probably punch it in. And ultimately, Brady's got a lot of new weapons. I feel like the Patriots want to shake off any rumors of Gronk's injury history. He's going to go to his most comfortable target, which on the current roster would be Gronk. So I'm expecting a huge game from Gronk, probably 6 catches, 80, 90 yards, and a touchdown. I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas City's defense does pick him off once, just because Marcus Peters is a beast. They led the NFL, I believe, 2 years ago in takeaways. And on the Kansas City side of things, the Patriots like to completely remove their opponent's best player, which I feel is Travis Kelce. I feel like Kelce will be held in check. They're going to ask a lot out of Hill and Kareem Hunt this week, and we'll see if they're ready to step into the light tomorrow night. But ultimately, I see probably a touchdown going to Hill, Hunt hopefully punching one in for my sake, But I see Kels being held in check. The next game on the slate, which will go to you, would be the Jets at Buffalo.
The Jets at Buffalo. Okay, I have the Buffalo Bills winning 17-3. I feel like, I don't know, the Jets just don't have anything there. I mean, personally, I bet on them going 0-16 just because it was 10-1 odds, so maybe make some money. But I'm not big on Buffalo, but I feel like they have a pretty good defense every year, and Tyrod Taylor is good enough to get them a win against that defense. I'm excited to see Jamal Adams play. You know, he was awesome in college, and I actually like him a lot. But on that Jets offense, I just don't know if there's anyone who could score. You got Robbie Anderson as your one receiver. He probably weighs 150 pounds, and I kind of like Bilal Powell a little bit, but who's blocking for him? And then the whole quarterback situation's a mess too. So
it's such a mess. Give it a week or two. Their best receiver could be ex-Giant Will Tye. He doesn't help with the blocking situation, but he very well might be their best receiver on that team.
That's a big man right there.
Yep. All right, so the next game we'll just go back and forth like this, is Atlanta at Chicago. I think everyone and their mother pretty much expects Atlanta to walk right through this game. I'd say it'll be 28-18, pretty one-sided start to finish. Freeman will probably get in the end zone. Julio will break 100 yards easy. I'm hoping Austin Hooper gets some red zone looks. But I just see Atlanta picking Chicago's defense apart. On Chicago's end, they're going to rely heavily on Jordan Howard. And they say they want to space the ball. I personally think if there had to be one wide receiver on Chicago to be utilized more heavily, I think when all's said and done, it'll be Kevin White.
Yep, I can see that.
But he has to stay healthy. That's been his issue for his entire NFL career. So I see them relying heavily on Jordan Howard. Touches and volume equal production, so he'll have a big week, but ultimately I don't see Chicago posing much of a threat to Atlanta this week, even at home. Up next, we have Baltimore at Cincinnati.
All right, I think this will be a good game, actually. I got 21-17 Ravens. I mean, neither offense is that dominant. The Bengals could have a good offense. It all depends on the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. But the Ravens always have a good defense. You know, I think for the first 12 weeks last year, they were actually the number one defense in the league. They're solid. John Harbaugh, he's a good coach. Did they say if Flacco is playing or not?
I don't think they've officially ruled, but I think the general consensus there is that he will be playing.
Okay,
but I don't think anything's official at this point.
Okay, yeah. I'm excited to see Danny Woodhead in action.
Yeah.
New team. That could be big.
So,
yeah, 21-17, Ravens, book it.
All right, up next, another road victory in my opinion. It's Pittsburgh at Cleveland. And I just don't think Kaiser's ready. The Steelers have all of their weapons back. And when I say all of them, I mean Martavis Bryant, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell. They have everything.
Oh, yeah.
They have everything. And each of those three players will have a touchdown. That's my prediction. Each of those three will have a touchdown. And that's not even that bold or crazy. That's just being realistic. Ben's going to spread the ball throughout those three. I don't really see anyone else on that offense being relevant. But I see Pitt going for 30-31. Cleveland will probably put up 21, 2-3 touchdowns.
Garbage time. I could see that.
Garbage time. Yeah, Crowell will be utilized a lot, and then they'll be forced to throw in garbage time. So I could see Cleveland scoring 3 times as well, but again, I see that being a one-sided game.
Yep.
Up next, you have a pretty good one here. Arizona at Detroit.
I got the Cardinals winning. I'll say 28-21. I think David Johnson will show us why he's the best running back in the league. See him putting up 150 yards easy, a couple touchdowns. I could see Carson Palmer also having a bit of a resurgence. You know, he didn't have the best year, but I could see him making a statement week 1, touchdown to Fitzgerald or whoever else they got. I don't know about the Lions this year. Matt Stafford just got paid, and you know, he's always solid, but he's 5-46 in his career against teams with a winning record, and that's just like crazy. So against a pretty good team, I just don't know if they'll get it done.
What they lack on defense, they have in weapons on offense, but I agree. I don't think it's enough to beat Arizona, and ultimately for the season, you can't be one-dimensional.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Next, I have Jacksonville at Houston, and I'll actually defer this one to you because I live in Jacksonville, and I can't down-talk the home team. So I cede to you. Jacksonville at Houston. How do you feel?
I'm gonna go with Houston, 21-10. I just think Houston's the better team. You know, obviously they're going through like a rough thing right now in their hometown, but I just think that defense, number 1 in the league last year, and you were missing the best player in the league, and the offense still isn't there yet. They're starting Tom Savage, so obviously he's not the answer. They want Watson to be starting, but for now, it's him. I think DeAndre Hopkins will maybe have a touchdown, and they'll put up 21, not too much, but I think the defense will hold Blake Bortles or Chad Henne or whoever they got to around 10 points. I think Leonard Fournette could have a maybe 100 yards, an okay game, though, start off the season.
Any receivers doing anything, or you think they're going to rely
not on the Jacksonville side, but yeah, with the Texans back to DeAndre Hopkins, I could see him having a pretty big game. The Jaguars do have good corners, though, in Jalen Ramsey and A.J. Boye, actually from the Texans, so he might have some trouble with them.
Now, before we head on to the next game, we actually did get asked a couple of questions this week. So one of the questions was specifically about Houston, and this comes from D. Baum. And he asked, he would like to hear about the Texans, if their defense and skill positions will be enough to succeed with either quarterback, in your opinion. And also, if you think Hopkins will do well with either of them throwing to him. I guess I'll get started. I see Hopkins having a better year than last year, not what he was 2 years ago, but he did vouch for Tom Savage before the preseason during OTAs, for what it's worth. You know, to have your number 1 receiver vouch for you, that bodes well, but I personally think it's a matter of when, not if, Savage loses that job. So switching quarterbacks could negatively affect Hopkins' performance in the second half of the year, but ultimately that depends on what Houston decides to do. Their defense, like you said, they got Watt back. They're going to be phenomenal. One of the top defenses in the league. And other than that, Will Fuller's still hurt, right?
Yeah, he's going to be out for a while.
So I don't know if he'll be relevant when he comes back. You know, he'll probably have to get his legs under him, develop some chemistry. Might take a few weeks whenever he does come back, but I don't see that being a viable stash. And Lamar Miller, it went unmentioned for a lot of the offseason that he was pretty banged up for the last third of the season last year. So I think he'll do a bit better than he did last year, but still temper expectations. When he went from Miami to Houston, everyone thought he was going to be utilized a lot more and keep up his efficiency. And he's never had to go a full season with that workload. So I think that, you know, there's a bit of a learning curve there. And whether or not he can sustain all season, we'll see. So I think he'll do a little better this year, you know, regardless of who the quarterback is. But I don't think he's going to enter the top 10 or anything crazy like that.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Do you have any other input about Houston's skill positions, or?
Nah, same thing with you. I think everyone will benefit from the when, not the if, Deshaun Watson starts. I think they just don't want to rush him into anything, so.
You think Hopkins will benefit from the switch?
I think he'll benefit from the switch. I know he likes Tom Savage because apparently he gives him the ball a lot in practice, but I just think Watson's a lot better.
All right, so we disagree a little. Well, I agree Watson's better, but in regards to how it affects Hopkins, we disagree a little. We'll see. That's one of those things we'll figure out as the season progresses. Anyways, let's keep the ball rolling. Next is a pretty big game, and I'll let you touch this one because the next one is a division game for my Giants. Okay. It's Oakland at Tennessee.
This is a good game right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually a really good game. I was looking at spreads before, and the Titans are actually favored in this game
really?
by a decent amount, which I was surprised by.
Yeah, I'm pretty shocked about that.
Both teams are good. I think, personally, obviously, the Titans are in my division, so I don't want them to win.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Raiders will win this game. I feel like it'll be a pretty high-scoring game, though. I'll have the Raiders at 35-28. I want to say both offenses are awesome. You know, you got two top 5 lines, good running games on both sides, and good young quarterbacks on each side. I think it'll be a shootout, and I'm going to take Derek Carr because he's just more of a gunslinger than Mariota.
I think it'll be a really good game. That's one I'm excited to see. I mean, Tennessee's home. It can really go either way. Personally, I'm a big fan of Amari Cooper and Derek Carr, AC/DC.
Yeah.
So I want Oakland to win, but we'll see. That's one of the 1 o'clock games I'll be watching very intently.
Definitely.
Right, so next we have the Eagles at Washington. And I think this will be a close game. I think Philly's defense is a bit underrated. And just division games that, you know, the NFC East, they tend to eat each other alive. So I see it being somewhat low scoring, something like 18-16.
Okay.
I have Philly winning because I think their defense is better. Alshon Jeffrey's healthy, and I'm expecting Wentz to take a big step. I also think Washington has so many weapons that it can eventually become a shootout. I don't really see either team running the ball too effectively this game. And
neither do I.
That's why I have it being pretty low scoring, because I think it's just going to be a lot of passes. And the Eagles' defense is phenomenal at scoring touchdowns. Pick sixes to the house. So ultimately, I see a lot of throwing, a lot of usage out of Cousins and Wentz, but I see Philly escaping with the win. Maybe a touchdown for Alshon, possibly one for Ertz. And then on the Washington side, I feel like Cousins will probably stick with his main target, his best offensive weapon, Jordan Reed.
Yep.
So
he could be a monster this year if he stays healthy.
Yeah, so I think Reed will get in the end zone. I feel like Crowder will get a lot of volume, but I don't see him getting a lot of red zone looks with Reed there and also with Terrell Pryor there. You know, Crowder's the smaller of the three, so I feel like he might lose red zone looks this season. But that's the way I have it going. I have the Eagles winning in a low-scoring game. And up next, I told you I would give you your team, and you have your Colts at L.A. against the Rams.
I don't know if I want to talk about this game. Yeah, I mean, we're missing our best player in Andrew Luck. They're missing their best player in Aaron Donald because he's doing that holdout stuff, whatever. I'm going to say 10-7 us just because I think we have a better offense. They got a better run game. Lines are about the same, but T.Y. Hilton, Dante Moncrief, we have some weapons. I'll give them the defense, but I don't know. Jared Goff, I couldn't tell you who's better, Jared Goff or Scott Tolzien. Probably Jared Goff just because of age and college experience, but I don't know. It's a battle of winless QBs. Jared Goff's 0-7 and Scott Tolzien's 0-2-1. So we'll have to see. Hopefully Malik Hooker or something can have an interception or a game-changing play that'll give it to us.
And I agree. Until Luck comes back, and the Colts are in some serious trouble.
Yeah.
Now, do you, just personal question, not to put you on the spot, do you think Frank Gore's going to slow down at all this year? The ageless wonder.
Yeah, I think he's gotten most of the carries the last 2 years with Indy. He had his first year with us 950 yards, and last year he had like 1,050 yards. But Robert Turbin actually had like the most touchdowns for running backs with fewest carries last year. At 8 touchdowns actually. So they already said they're giving him a bigger role, and we just picked up Matt Jones off the waiver wire. So I think they're going to start incorporating those guys more on first and second down, and possibly slow down Frank a little bit. I still think he'll have around 800 yards or something. Not bad, but not what he's had the last few years.
So a little bit more of a committee this year, you're thinking.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And don't they have Marlon Mack too?
They do have Marlon Mack too. That's the guy I was waiting to talk about. He'll be the third down guy, I'm pretty sure, because he's got what the other 3 guys don't, which is speed. So that could be lethal once Luck comes in with screen passes or something.
It can be, and I'm hoping, because he is one of my quarterbacks in my other league, I'm hoping he comes back sooner rather than later. But I don't mind the checkdowns to Jack Doyle in the meantime.
Honestly, Jack Doyle, it doesn't matter who's quarterback. He's always the go-to option in that offense. Even, you looked in the preseason, Scott Tolzien was always looking towards him, and obviously it's better with Luck, but I still think his production won't decline too much in the quarterback change. But yeah, I'm thinking Luck will be back around week 3. I'm saying I don't think he'll be here week 2 because he still hasn't practiced with the team. Week 3, I'm actually not sure we play week 3. Week 4, I know we play Seattle against Russell Wilson. He'll definitely be back for that game.
Oh yeah.
But week 3, I'm thinking that's the comeback game.
Now, one last question before we move on. In Tolzien, do you still trust?
Not at all. I
No.
want us to start Brissett. I want us to start Jacoby.
All right, so
He get us a win.
our Facebook page is lying to our 13 fans. It's okay.
It was a one-night thing.
Don't start Tolzien. That's all. That's if you take one thing away from all of this, do not start Scott Tolzien. All right, next is Seattle at Green Bay, and these two teams hate each other.
Oh, this is a good game too.
These two teams hate each other. This is going to be a real good one. This is one of the 425 games on Fox, and again, I'll be watching this one pretty close.
Oh yeah.
Seattle on the road. It's intriguing. It's intriguing. They said they're starting Lacey. Rawls might not play. Green Bay, for the first time in a couple years, has gotten out of the preseason relatively injury-free.
Yeah.
So
they got everyone.
So at Lambeau, all their weapons, I see Green Bay pulling out the win, something 28-24.
Okay, that's what I had too.
28-24?
Yeah, 28-24 Green Bay.
And this is completely unrehearsed, people. That's just a smart man right there. That's all that
I
is.
was thinking if I had to do this game or you, and I was like, oh, gee, 28-24 sounds good.
Yeah. So, a lot of touchdowns. I see one for Jordy, one for Adams. They're going to utilize Ty Montgomery a lot. I personally, I don't own him in any leagues, but Randall Cobb won me a championship back in the day. A part of me always waits for that resurgence, so I hope he has a big year and
yeah, he kind of fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah,
he was like a top 7 receiver that one year, and
that was
the year.
Down. That was the year that I took him in the 3rd, and exactly that. He was the 7th or 8th best receiver, and I won a championship that year. And 2 years later, I owned him, and he did diddly squat. So
oh yeah,
we'll see. I love that man. He helped lead to a big year for me. So, but ultimately, I think it's the Jordy and Devontae show. And on Seattle's side, I think they're going to use Jimmy Graham a lot to move the ball, and Doug Baldwin. So I see both of them getting in the end zone. Jimmy Graham had a rough time in the red zone last year. I feel like he'll come back to earth with that. And in regards to the running game, I see a committee in Seattle, unless one person, pulls away over the next few weeks, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't feel comfortable starting any of them.
I'm pretty surprised though that they said Lacey's getting like 25 carries. Rawls was getting all the carries and for the most of the beginning of the preseason and in training camp. So
right now they're saying Rawls might not play this week. He's dealing with
Oh,
an ankle
that's
injury.
why.
Yeah, that's why.
okay.
So I have him on one of my benches. I think he's more likely to be the starter. And on the depth chart, they had him as the starter up until that announcement. But I think they're preparing for this week without him. So next, you have Carolina at San Fran.
Yeah, I don't think this game will be too close. I'll put it at 28-10. I'll say Carolina. I like the direction San Fran's going in. New GM, new coach, and they seem like they know what they're doing, so they're on the rise. Carolina, a down year. I have them as one of the bounce-back teams this year. Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey, I think they'll both have a huge game, maybe 30 points apiece in fantasy. And I don't know, Carolina still has a good defense, and I don't think San Fran has any weapons on offense besides Carlos Hyde. But he doesn't really have anyone blocking for him, and you never know with his injuries. Later, dude.
I'm excited to see what McCaffrey can do. And again, like you said, Hyde always gets hurt, but he looks really good right now. So I could see Hyde having a big game. But I agree. I see it being pretty much one-sided for Carolina this week.
Yeah.
And Greg Olsen is a model of consistent efficiency. So, I'm hoping he can continue to move the chains, and I own him in my third league, so I'm hoping McCaffrey won't take too much away from that. I know McCaffrey has his own playbook.
Yeah,
That
was nuts.
His own playbook.
I know. I can't believe that was an ESPN update.
Yeah.
He has his own playbook.
That's astounding. So I'm very excited to see that. All right, so the last game, Sunday night, my Giants against Dallas, and I think we're going to, at this point, stop after this game because I'm going to be visiting my little brother up at Clemson for the Clemson-Auburn game and to escape Irma. So I'm thinking a weekend, quick little 20, 30-minute podcast featuring my little brother Dominic. So he and I will touch on the 2 Monday night games and then anything that happens over the weekend depending on when we record. But we'll just get into this last game and then we'll answer the last 2 questions that we got asked before we wrap this up. So the last game would be the Giants at Dallas. As we said earlier, Zeke is playing, unfortunately. And I'm very biased. I don't think it matters. The Giants are still going to walk out of AT&T with a victory.
I thought I was doing this game.
You want this game?
No, I don't want it. But I thought you were going to give it to me.
No. So, I see us, last year, both times we versed them, Spags not only shut down Zeke, he shut down that whole offense.
Oh, yeah.
Whether or not he can do it again is yet to be seen. But he did it twice in a year when Dallas beat everybody else. So I don't see why it can't be done again. I have the Giants winning 24-16. And I personally think we have their number, and that's being a little generous. I see Zeke probably grinding out 80, 90 yards on the ground. I see Dez getting in the end zone for a touchdown. But ultimately, I don't see much else out of Dallas this week, and I don't think that's going to be enough. It's yet to be seen if Beckham will be playing, although he was jogging and warming up with the team today, so that's a good sign. I think B. Marsh will be used a lot, especially near the goal line, if Beckham doesn't play. So I see Brandon Marshall being welcome to the G-Men in a big way this week. If Odell doesn't play, all in all, I see our tight end maybe getting targeted a little bit more. But rookie tight ends usually aren't used heavily in the passing game, so I think those targets will be more likely to be given to Shepard. And I don't think we're going to be able to run the ball effectively at all. Just as a Giants fan, it's been an issue. It's still an issue. The O-line hasn't been addressed. I like Perkins. I just don't see us running on Dallas because we haven't run on anybody in years.
Yeah.
So, I'm biased, so do you have any differing opinions on this game?
Nah, I think the Giants will win too. I just think they're a better team.
Mm-hmm.
I have them winning division, and
Me too.
I don't know if they'll sweep them this year, but I have them winning week 1.
Okay. So the Tampa-Miami game is postponed to week 11. Those two teams, consider this their bye week. They're playing 16 weeks straight. So
that's rough. The players are not happy about that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. They're going to be exhausted come the postseason if either team makes it. So, all right, so we have 2 other questions, and I guess I'll ask you the first one, and this one comes from DG, and DG asks, do you think Hunter Henry is going to be a top 10 tight end this year?
Top 10? Yeah, I think it'll be around 9 or 10, maybe even 8. Get an awesome rookie season, but they got a lot of weapons on that offense, like a lot of mouths to feed, and especially Mike Williams now. He's off the PUP. I don't know when he's playing, but he's playing.
Bench in another league.
So yeah, your Clemson boy over there, but he's gonna take a lot of red zone targets. He's a pretty big dude. He could bring in catches. So I think it could cause a downgrade for Hunter Henry, and Antonio Gates is still there, and that's Rivers' main boy. So.
Keenan Allen's healthy right now too. Rivers'
yeah,
favorite target.
Like I said, it's a lot of people, but I still think he'll do good. But I don't think he'll be elite just yet.
Okay, that's a fair assessment. I'd agree with that. Break into the top 10, but the back end of that.
Yeah.
And our last question for the day is a fantasy question for this person's flex spot. And so I'll let you give your input, and then I'll say where I stand on it. It's a three-way question. Who do you think will have a better week 1 non-PPR? Adam Thielen, Terrence West, or Fat Rob? Robert Kelly.
Who the second one? Who the Ravens play? The Bengals?
The second one was Terrence West.
Yeah, he's going against the Bengals, right? The Ravens play the Bengals, I think?
Yes, at Cincinnati, yes.
I'm going to go with one of the running backs. I'm kind of torn right now. I'm not a fan, honestly, of big, but I think I'm going to go with Fat Rob, actually.
Fat Rob?
I think they're both going against okay. I wouldn't go with Thielen, definitely. It'd be between one of the 2 running backs if I had to make a decision. I think Terrence West is probably better than Fat Rob, but they have Woodhead there. He's going to get a lot of action on third down. So I think that takes away from him. So I'm going to go with Fat Rob just because I think he will end up getting more carries. And even though the Eagles do have a good D-line, which is who he's going against, I think he could still pull out around 10, 11 points maybe.
Okay. I think, I don't know, I'm debating back and forth. You can make a case for any of these guys.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd go West, because like you said, Woodhead's there, they're on the road. Ultimately, I think West will have a very good season. I just don't think it's going to happen week 1 against the Bengals. I think they're going to want to use their new toy in Woodhead.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And I'm pretty sure Baltimore just claimed another running back off waivers.
Did they?
It's escaping me who, but I'm pretty sure they got someone else back there as well. I'll double check on that and get back to everyone over the weekend when I record with Dominic. But yeah, so I don't think I would go Terrence West. If you go Rob Kelly, it's intriguing because although they have Perrine, I think he's someone that will become more relevant down the road. I think at this point, Kelly has the reins to that starting job, and it's not very close. I just don't think they're going to run the ball too effectively. So pretty much by default, I think I might go Adam Thielen. And my thoughts on this, Minnesota, unfortunately, every year has a new guy, a new top receiver.
Yeah.
You know, it went from Charles Johnson to Stephon Diggs to Adam Thielen. You know, Kyle Rudolph's healthy now. He had a big year last year as well. Last year was really the first year in a handful where you saw a couple relevant receivers. So I think Thielen, if I had to go with one of those three, solely because they're at home against the Saints defense. I just think matchup-wise, that's really the outlier. It's the best matchup available, and if you're looking for something to make that decision, that's what I would go with. To keep pace with the Saints, Minnesota's going to have to throw, and if they're going to throw, Thielen's going to get targets. So.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think Sam Bradford's going to do a lot of checkdowns to Dalvin Cook. I think he's going to have a huge game against that New Orleans defense.
Mm-hmm. That's fair, Cook, and I could see Rudolph still being involved a lot as well. So yeah, there's really no clear-cut answer there. I think I'd go Thielen. You think you go Kelly?
Yeah, I mean I'm not a big fan of either three options. Do I get a option 4? Is that on the table? But yeah.
Option 4, check your waiver wire.
Yeah, at that point, I think I would.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we'll call today a wrap. I'll tell Dominic you said hi, stay safe down in Tampa. And thank you all for listening. If you have any questions, you can find us, the New Guys Podcast, on our Facebook page or post it on our YouTube channel. And good luck with week 1.
Adios.